Was it one of the great performances from Liverpool and what we've seen in the last couple of years? Not even close. But in terms of what they've been producing lately, it was about as good as it gets, particularly going forward. There was a 10-minute period at the start or whatever it was for Leipzig when the header came off the post and Sabitzer had a strike and Angelino had a volley at the back post. And then after that, Liverpool composed themselves, and every time they went forward, they pulled, as Stevie said, they pulled that back three apart because they were getting left exposed. They had Firmino dropping off, they had centre-halves going in with them, and then they were pinging it over the top. And when you're Nagelsmann and you look at this and say, OK, we created some chances and Alisson made a save, but again, it was Henderson and Kabak at the back. I mean, that's a centre-half pairing in a knockout stage of the Champions League, and you're not able to break the duck and get on the score sheet. That's not good enough. And the other side is, Liverpool were still taking chances in the first half, passing it back to Alisson. Bearing in mind the time that he's had. I mean, Henderson gave him one ball. It was a square ball, and he absolutely fired it at him. And Alisson shanked it and got away with it. I mean, so they're still taking chances, but I just thought going forward, every time they got on the ball, the quick one over the top, they looked like they could get in. 2-0. I think Klopp will be delighted with that result.
Stevie, is this the light at the end of the tunnel? Is it now visible for Liverpool, considering this run that they've been on? Does this start them seeing to turn a corner?
100%. When you win games, regardless of how good or how bad you play, it makes everybody feel good and it brings everybody back together and it makes everybody smile. You know, they'll be going back into training the next day, they'll be meeting up and everybody will be happy. That's huge when you walk through that front door, whether it's the stadium or the where you train. So, yeah, 100% it's a start. But that's all it is. And I'm sure Klopp won't be getting carried away. He knows that defensively they're still giving teams chances. I've told you, 2 one-on-ones today with Alisson. That's not ideal, but they got away with it. And if they continue to do that, then hopefully the front three, as they did today, will start scoring goals.
How did Leipzig get it so wrong, Jan?
Well, it's interesting because sometimes managers like Julian Nagelsmann, they get this God syndrome kind of thing. Then you play without strikers. You could say, I'm not a coach, but you could say that when you play three at the back, when they play with no strikers up front against Kabak and Henderson, not educated defenders, maybe you should put more pressure on them in terms of educating the Champions League that Kabak did. So I think that when Klopp saw that he played without strikers, he thought, oh, thank God they play no strikers up there. Having said that, Nagelsmann has been successful doing that before. He had 3 or 4 strikers on the bench today. He put them slowly on. But I think that this Liverpool, I'm with you, Craig, saying that this is not the best performance we've seen in Liverpool over a couple of 3 years, but it was very solid because I think that Leipzig midfield is a very underestimated midfield with Campbell, with Sabitzer and Olmo and all these kind of players, and there was no danger today, and I was impressed by Liverpool today, and I think what they will take away from it, I agree with Stevie, they were one against Alisson, but after you still keep a clean sheet, then you give him confidence going into the league again, and Kabak being at a pitch with a clean sheet. I think this was a great night for Liverpool to take with them to kind of consolate to get that top 4 position at least in the Premier League.
The other side it was I think it was a good decision to have a bit more energy in the middle of the park with a youngster in Curtis Jones, who's at times this year looked very, very good for one so inexperienced. And I just think having his energy and drive in there is something that maybe you've got to get the balance right. And when you've got Thiago in the side and you've got Wijnaldum who's coming out of contract, sometimes you need something a little bit different. And I thought that was a good decision. But look, to be quite frank, I don't think Liverpool are going to win anything unless they can get one Fabinho back in there at centre-back or to get some more experienced centre-halves fit. I just don't think, as good as Henderson's doing, and credit him for that, they're not. I might be wrong, and I might have to eat my words here, but they're not going to go far in this competition. Even if they beat Leipzig out, playing that kind of pairing at centre-back, it'll get exposed by the better teams, which I'm surprised Leipzig didn't do tonight.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.